1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's cure of the what now?
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the what now?
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the what now?
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the what now?
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh, served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow extras, and welcome to episode
16.
of
Cure of the what now?
Yum.
Yep.
That was some great collaboration there. This is the one show where we know it is finally your time to shine, extras. Every single one of you, you all get a speaking line. Did you show up once in episode 3 and somebody said, "Oh, I think he's pretty handsome"? You get a speaking line. Congratulations.
Protect Fari with your life for the movie, not your actual life.
Fa-fa! My name is Kat. I'm the host of the show. And I'm just a scrunkly little dude, you know? I'm scrunking here, man. Everyone's like, maybe you should be more subtle, but no, I'm scrunking here.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to have a podcast host who just is unashamed of their scrunky, of their scrunkiness. I'm your co-host, Joel, and also I'm the mysterious sun man who shall protect the note in this amazing movie.
Who are you, you masked man? We keep referencing a movie. We didn't watch a movie for the episode. They pretended to be shooting a movie in the episode that we watched, so we'll get to that. Joel, please tell me which episodes we watched and which episodes we are watching next week.
Absolutely. So this week we watched episodes 40 and 41 of Sweet, and episodes 13 of Max Heart and Delicious Party PreCure. Next episode of the podcast, we will be covering Max Heart 14, Delicious Party 14, and Sweet 42 and 43.
Excellent, thank you. Now this is a momentous day for our podcast. Do you
Yes.
know why that is, Joel?
Pete finally got 1 million subscribers on TikTok.
How did Pete get to 1 million subscribers before we did? What is this bullshit? Is he showing booty?
We're not on TikTok, and this is a purely audio format. I don't know.
I could show audio booty. Would that get us more followers on our TikTok that doesn't exist?
I think it would bring people to the yard, so to speak. Milkshakes for boys, but audible booty for just everyone in general.
Excellent. Okay, it's sort of a non-binary booty gathering.
Absolutely.
It's a momentous day.
It is,
for
yes.
our podcast. So, again, do you know why?
No,
it
was because Pete was TikTok.
That was not why.
Okay, why was it
Despite
then?
him being a valuable member of this team, it's because people responded to our Reddit post.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always tweet the episode. I post it in the Discord, the link for which is in the YouTube description or the podcast description. And sometimes I remember to post it to Reddit. Reddit is not, I don't use it very regularly, but I try to occasionally put it on the r/PreCure. And we ask our lead-in discussion questions about this season. We're focusing on creating a fan-made PreCure series and kind of like going with like a theme or an idea and that kind of thing, seeing how it grows. And so in this post, I said, does anyone have any ideas about how you would do a power-switching PreCure season a la Tokuger? And we got some good feedback. Would you like me to... Should we cover last week's topic with all everyone's additions, or would you like to save that for tweets in a bottle or whatever it's called?
Yeah, let's cover last week's topics with people's additions. We won't read them word for word, but we'll kind of summarize what they said and add our commentary. And then I believe somebody even suggested a discussion question for this week.
Absolutely.
So then we'll do that.
All right, so this comes from the Outcast 06 or 06. I mean, they're both the same way as pronouncing the same thing. But they were describing Power Switch, which is, what about a cure who's the Mega Man of PreCure? They have a database of powers, and they can select which one they want. I love that, and I said that the villain should also have their own evil database that has different powers. So if the Mega Man PreCure has fire, water, and earth powers, maybe the bad guys have wind, darkness, and crystal powers or something like that.
I love that. That would be so awesome. I think that you could really lean into the Sentai Kamen Rider vibes if you went with a cure like this. Like, I imagine her being kind of a solo writer type, and then maybe she gets a secondary writer halfway through the season instead of it being a team show from the beginning.
Yeah, I could see that. They were also suggesting specifically using the costumes of previous seasons, so I think that would work as an anniversary special. I know that they had a season of Sentai where they could do that too, where they had all the items and stuff from previous seasons.
That'd be really cool. Something that I learned today is that apparently young girls tend to prefer team shows, like shows with a larger cast, to shows with a single main character or a duo of main characters.
Interesting. Is that why so many PreCure seasons have 4 or 5 characters?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
so
cool.
That was just a fun fact that I learned. Some executive at Cartoon Network said that girls graduate from animation to live action and boys don't, and that's why more cartoons are for boys.
I wonder if that's true. But anyways, we also got a comment from Crescent Crossbow, and they had quite a bit to say, but essentially they appear to be taking inspiration from Magia Record, which is I believe a phone spin-off game of the Madoka Magica series.
This is the Magia Record guy. Hey guy, if you, and apologies if girl, not guy, because Reddit doesn't have pronouns, or neither, but if you want to hit me up and talk to me about Magia Record, I love Madoka, I love the universe, but I do not comprehend what is going on with Record, so I would love to chat about that. Joel, hit me.
Absolutely. So, like you mentioned earlier, we're not going to read word for word. You can go to the Reddit and find the episode link and read it for yourself. But essentially, it looks like, if I'm understanding this correctly, I'm not an expert, but it looks like in the game there are 4 clans. There's a green clan, there's a crimson clan, there's a blue clan, and an ash clan. And they each represent a specific kind of theme. And then, so Crescent Crossbow suggested that we would have 3 or 4 Kiers who have a specific theme themselves. For instance, you might have a plant-based Kier Arbor, and then they would be able to take on the green, crimson, blue, or ashen form. So, like, one is the visual motif and the theme, and then the other one is kind of like the feeling and like the direction to take it. So I think it was something like the ash was like cosmic horror, and green was like, let me see. Green is hope punk, just like PMMM. Oh, well, Madoka Magic, whatever. It would basically be kind of like you would have 16 unique combinations if you had 4 girls and 4 colors.
That'd be really cool. I especially like the idea of, if each girl has their own theme, then how do you apply their theme under your theme, right? So if you've got a girl who is green and hope, and then you've got somebody who is black and cosmic horror, what does hope cosmic horror look like?
Yes, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I think that would be really cool. Thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts. It really does make the podcast a lot more fun when we can have back and forth with people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we kind of maybe touched on this last week, but I also think it would be interesting if different cures had easier or hard times with different, I'm calling them moods, just so I can differentiate between like what their main thing is and what the addition of the color does. But for example, if one character is like super upbeat and there is one that's a little bit more like bloodthirsty, so I guess not upbeat, more like pacifistic, and then the color was more aggressive, they might struggle to understand that. And then, like you suggested, the 2 characters, the one who specializes in it and the one who's having a hard time, they could have a bonding moment, and at the end of the episode, that's when Pacifist Girl figures out that sometimes you punch things in order to make them stop hurting people.
Kind of like Muse figured out that you can punch your dad in order to protect your dad.
Yes, absolutely.
I will be taking that to heart and punching my father next time I see him.
Out of love, of course.
To protect him.
Yeah. Father, there's an evil spirit inside of you. Yeah!
Somehow I don't think he would respond well to. I saw it on a cartoon. now that I'm almost 30.
Absolutely. Video games don't make me violent, but magical girls do.
Is it it really violence if it's for love? Yes.
Yeah.
It is
Of course, violence is violence.
Keep your hands and feet and teeth to yourselves.
Just keep yourself to yourself, your body. Okay. The same comment thread with the Outcast 06, I mentioned, we're just kind of coming up with different what-if scenarios for each of these lead-in discussions, and they said that they had some ideas, and I said, can I steal some of those ideas? And they went, yeah, with credit, so I am officially crediting user the Outcast 06. Cures that help save the underworld is a theme. And I think that's kind of an interesting departure from the typical magical girl formula that PreCure has. But I will say, when I hear Underworld, I don't think demons and monsters in hell, like from the Christian ideology. I'm thinking of Greek mythology.
I was going to say the very first place my mind went when I read this comment was the video game Hades.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. So that would be kind of interesting, and you could make the bad guys, they could either be Olympus, or it could be like some, because the underworld's not really evil, it's just like, it's a necessity of life kind of a thing, so you could have a truly evil villains that want to take over the underworld and make it a truly like more hell type of situation. Or you could even have the Titans be the bad guys, the father of all the Olympians.
I like that. What if whoever the bad guys are, right? The Titans maybe, or what if they are trying to escape the underworld and they are trying to use other people's like bodies to do it?
Oh, okay.
And so they can enter the body of anyone who is feeling a set amount of despair. Sufficient, that's the word I was looking for. Anybody who's feeling sufficient despair, they can enter their body, and then they can be on the upper world, and when the girls beat them up, they have to go back to the underworld.
Very nice.
That's not exactly saving the underworld, it's more saving people. But
yeah, okay.
It's a concept I am interested in.
I was, like I said, this feels like a departure from any of the PreCure seasons that you and I have already seen, but I was trying to think of, like, how could you make it a little bit more PreCure themed? And I came up with, what if the main Pink, what if her parents are some kind of counselor for people who have lost someone? And, it's devastating when a special person is no longer in your life, but you know that you can always remember them and you can think on the good times and you can think of the lessons that they taught you. And so basically they would kind of team up with spirits in order to fight the bad guys or something like that. And maybe it would be kind of like that they have unfinished business and can't leave the mortal plane until it's fixed or whatever. And so maybe she could be a ghost detective.
Yusuke Urameshi.
Yeah, as foretold in Delicious Party, or as foreshadowed.
Yeah, no, that's great. I like that. Speaking of Delicious Party, is that where you want to start our succinct summaries this week, or would you rather start with Max Heart?
Let's start with Delicious Party.
All right, hit me. Baby, one more time.
Bow, bow, bow. Okay.
Early 2000s fashions are coming back. We're not ready.
Okay. I've never been a fashion person. I know that fedoras were the 20s, and so were flappers.
Extremely low-rise jeans. Think like under your hips.
Oh, okay. Like your pants should be wide enough that you could fit another person in there. That's just economic, right? Because then you don't need to buy a pair of pants for every single person. You just need to buy a pair of pants for every other person.
Excuse me, Catherine. I want to talk about how your husband appears to be riding around in your pants. Oh, yes, don't worry about him. These are my emotional support pants.
He's just being a scrunkly little dude. Take all of the Cheetos from the workplace, from the break room. No, little scrunkly, I am doing important work. Okay, so Delicious Party. We find out that Amane has kind of basically been passed out and isn't going to wake up. Maybe she needs to receive a kiss from her true love. And we meet her older brothers who are twins, which sets off Rand's kind of like, ooh, twins. So that was fun for us in the Discord to chat about. But the more important thing is that Takumi has a delicious stone. And it's the story of how his dad met his mom, and he was famished, and he was a stranger to this land, and he was on an important adventure for the CooKingdom, whatever that could mean. And Yui goes, that's very interesting, but don't worry about it. Even though he has all of these connections to the CooKingdom, it's probably not relevant. But a young Takumi discovers this stone, and it creates like a laser blast, a shockwave, and his dad's like, you have to be careful using this power because it could hurt people. And Takumi goes, got it, never use this power, instead of responsibly use this power. In the present day, he realizes that Yui is intentionally fighting monsters because he thought for some reason that Mary was forcing her to fight monsters, even though last episode Mary very clearly got in the way of a blast and took it himself in order to protect Yui, so I have no idea what Takumi was thinking. But he finally figured out, oh, she's doing this of her own free will, I'll help her. And we get a glimpse of a cape. And I wish that the opening hadn't spoiled who that cape belonged to. But we see a cape in the middle of this battle, and there's a mysterious laser blast that saves Precious right at the last second, and everyone goes, I wonder what that is.
You know what this also conveniently solves?
What's that?
The problem of how Mari's going to get home at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But the other thing is that now Narcistoru has taken the scene. He's going to be the general for the next couple of episodes. And when he turns Recipipis into Ubazows, he turns them into Moto Ubazows. And it was unclear to me if every Moto Ubazow will have the ability to get stronger the angrier they get. This one did. Maybe each one will have a unique gimmick, but maybe they will all have that one gimmick. The other thing is when he steals a Recipipi, people's memories of that specific food just poofs out of their mind and they forget all of it. I do not know, and it is not clear if this can also affect the memories of the PreCure, because many times in other seasons, you know, with the Yarine Da stealing motivation power, or having heart seeds that are being taken over by evil or whatever, a wilting heart seed, usually the PreCure are immune. But we'll see.
I love that Yui is so deeply offended by the idea of, like, messing with food in any form, but like messing with people's memories around food is no good. Messing with the food itself is no good because it brings people smiles. Like, can you imagine just her growing up to be outraged that somebody put ketchup on a chocolate chip cookie?
Oh yeah, like this isn't the way that my grandma makes them. Yeah, I was thinking about this since we watched the episode, between watching the episode and recording. This is actually the most brilliant foil to Yui's ideology that I can think of, because food brings smiles, but also it's a very specific attachment to her grandmother who was precious to her. And so if it is possible that the girls can be affected by the mind control, or the memory loss, I guess is a better word for it, then we can brace ourselves for a very impactful episode where maybe Yui will forget a connection to her grandma, and maybe that'll give her like a new power-up or something.
The 2,000 kilocalorie punch?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that the next increment will be 2,000, or do you think it'll be 5,000? I think it'll probably be 5,000.
Yeah, I think 5,000 and then probably 10,000. I'm waiting, maybe in the movie, when we get a solo movie, maybe she'll do the 1 million kilocalorie punch.
That would be so sick.
Although technically I think there's something that's past kilo, so instead of 1,000 kilo, it should just be the 1 mega calorie punch or something like that, if we're going to use the proper units.
Now, you know what's funny about this episode?
What's that?
It's episode 13.
Okay.
You noticed a connection, I think, to the number 13 within this episode.
Yeah. This episode's kind of strange. When I was doing this succinct summary, it's like, on one hand it's about Takumi, but on the other hand it's about Narcistoru. But actually what it's secretly about is Takumi's dad, whose name is Monpei. I wrote it down. I'll look at that. And he meets a young Anne, who is Takumi's mom, and she feeds him, and then he goes, I need to go. And he puts on a suspicious cloak that might allow him to use the passages of darkness, I think that's what they're called, in order to travel between worlds. He is, in fact, a member of the Organization 13. So the question is, has he been Norded? Will Lil Chef from Kingdom Hearts 3 show up? And also, because, you know, he's related to the food and all that stuff, And also, will we eventually see Monpei's Nobody and Heartless, potentially?
Maybe. His body is his nobody.
Okay.
And Takumi is his Heartless. We thought Takumi was a person this whole time.
Interesting.
It's Kingdom
maybe.
Hearts. The rules can be whatever we want, baby.
Technically, there are rules. They're just open to being changed at any time. That's how they're going to bring back Yui's grandmas with the power of waking, because that uses connections to worlds to connect to.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Before we get side, first of all, I think we can agree Yui would absolutely be one of the princesses of heart.
Of course you would.
And
Yeah.
Yusuke Urameshi would save her. Mm-hmm. But who in this series do you think is most qualified to wield a Keyblade?
I mean, technically, Kairi can wield a Keyblade, and she's a princess of heart, but...
I just really like... Takumi is so defensive of Yui. I love the idea of giving him just a big F-off key sword.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I think this is just too big of a question to answer in a succinct manner. I was going to say, aren't most of the Keyblade wielders men? But there is also Aqua, everyone's favorite waifu from those games. So yeah, I don't know.
Narcistoru summons the Ubaozo differently. He doesn't say boon boon dor dor boondaru.
No. He says Tororun boondoru.
Which is interesting because his name ends in Toru, so you're just a narcissist.
Yeah.
Gentle was all about the organization, and he is about himself first and then the organization, is what I get from this tiny soundbite.
Yeah, I could see that. And I mean, his name is Narcistoru, so it totally makes sense. What I find interesting is that we've so far seen him do, I guess, 3 things. He has been able to steal people's memories, he has created a mind control device, and then he's also created a device that allows him to find recipes more efficiently.
Oh yeah, he's got a Dragon Ball scanner now.
Absolutely. But those first 2, they're both mental things. So I wonder if he's going to have psychic powers of some sort. Maybe he'll be able to read minds or something like that. It just seems like that's his specialty. He put all of his points in mental stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be out of line for a vampire.
Absolutely.
Can I come in? Where does the ocean meet the...
Also, his animations. I've seen someone mention it on Twitter. I noticed it when taking screenshots. He's kind of sexy. He's kind of a hot boy.
That's what I've been saying. You were like, I don't know why you like this terrible trash man. Yes, you do.
He wasn't... God, this sounds so weird because I don't know how old he's supposed to be. But he's not a hot boy when he's kicking the puppy that is Amane. Like, his introduction was so cartoonishly evil that you were like, I love him. I'm like, he's a bastard. I don't know if I'm going to have to censor that or not, but like, he's a bad guy. But in this episode, they stepped it up a notch with facial expressions and the way he's doing his hand gestures when he's about to summon the Ubazao, the Moto Ubazao. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it's going to go, and I need to know what his dark backstory is. Because Gentle didn't seem to really have a backstory, and maybe that's because she's a fake persona who didn't really have a history or whatever. She was just loyal to the organization, to Godats. But Narcistoru is very like, these people are having fun. Not fun. These people are enjoying food. I don't like it when people enjoy food.
I know what it is.
You do?
I do, yeah. He and I have very similar backstories. Narcistoru used to be much heavier. And then he went on a really strict diet. And now he hates seeing other people enjoy food because he's jealous because he can't enjoy food anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, hot idea. You know, we give villainous characters villainous traits. What if Narcistoru is just fat phobic? You know, he's like, look at these people shoving all this food in their mouth and he's making moral judgments. He doesn't know their story, but he's judging them anyways, and that's eventually why he's going to get punched in the face.
You know, could be.
I think that's just about everything that happened in this. Oh, you were asking about, the kilocalorie punch and what's the next number going to be? Is it going to be 2,000 or 5,000? Here's my question. So moto is literally just the Japanese word for more. So this ubazao is just more ubazao. Is the next general who shows up just going to be most ubazao? And then after that, the ultra most?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Is it just me, or did the last couple seasons step up the number of times the monsters get upgraded? Because I feel like, in Smile, you had the regular clown things, and then you had
the buffoons and the blue nose buffoons, yeah.
But I don't feel like most of the series have 3 stages.
Yeah, I'm trying to cast my mind through it, because I don't really remember how the monsters were summoned in Maho. And in Princess, they basically only had 2 forms of them, more or less. But yeah, Healin' Good had a couple of different Biogens, or whatever they're called. There was like the Mega and the Ultra and the Super Mega. So I don't know, maybe it's more... Maybe... Because like Team Rocket in Pokemon loses every time, and they very rarely even get close to winning, or they get about the same level of dastardly. And so I think maybe after 14 seasons or 15 seasons, however many seasons, maybe the fans started to be like, hey, how come the girls are struggling after 8 weeks of fighting the same monsters to beat those same monsters? And so maybe by giving the monsters more frequent upgrades, you can then justify where they're still having a hard time, because it's not the same monster in episode 9, it's a stronger monster in episode 9.
Oh, okay. Could be. Anyway, I like your joke. I think the next one will probably be Motomoto.
Motomoto. The final series will be the deluxe dish or whatever, the a la carte ubazao.
Oh gosh. By the way, did confirm that Narcistoru and Secretoru are not human.
Oh yes, that's right. They said something about like,
we lost our human puppet and now we'll have to go ourselves.
Exactly. We went with her because she knew the area or something like that. Okay.
That answers that question.
Mm-hmm. Ask me the question.
Tell me what happened in Max Heart this week.
Nothing! Nothing is wrong. One thing, we briefly glimpsed the next heartiel, but do not know what their name is or what their thing is, what aspect. They seemed to represent joy to me. Like, it seemed like they were drawn to strong emotions. But like we did with the green one, I guess we're just going to start getting heartiels introduced in one episode and then utilized in the next, like properly bonded, I guess. Yeah. And that's been your succinct summary. Moving on.
Thanks. Moving on. I really loved episode 41.
40 was the movie.
40.
Or no. 40 was the grandpa episode. 41 was the... This is why you need me to give you a succinct summary.
I just want to say episode 41 of Sweet PreCure was probably my favorite episode of the season so far. Hit us up with the succinct summaries so that we can get to discussing it.
Absolutely. Episode 40, kind of like how I mentioned for Delicious Party 13 a few minutes ago, is kind of weird because it is about Akko's relationship with her grandpa and also her relationship with Soda. But those aren't really important to the episode. What's truly important to the episode is that Hibiki has figured out that Pii-chan is the one who's taking all the notes. I can't even remember what caused her to have the Jimmy Neutron brain blast, but she eventually figures it out, and they're going to try to capture it, but then the minor trio show up and cause problems on purpose, and that's how the episode ends. And Grandpa Otokichi is close to Akko, which I think we can assume from the fact that she went to go live with him when things went wrong in Major Land, but good to have an episode reconfirming that near the end. Probably to set up some death flags for the old man.
Excuse you?
Well, I'm just saying.
No.
Okay. You don't think it would be dramatically appropriate?
Don't even say.
Okay, you don't want me to jinx it.
No, don't speak evil into this podcast.
There were people who had previously seen all of Sweet PreCure, and it ended a specific way. But just then, when I said what I said, it sent reverberations throughout the space-time continuum, and now they all remember it ending a different way. We are no longer in the Bearstein universe. We are in the Bearstein universe. Anyways, that was episode 40 of Sweet, and in episode 41 they discovered that there's only one note left, and it's in Fari.
Oh, I thought it was in Sori.
No, that was in the other previous timeline. In this timeline, it was in Fari. But they basically... I guess Fari's an idiot. I don't feel as though they've really established that before.
Fari's not an idiot. Fari is confidently wrong.
Yeah, Fari is just enthusiastic and headstrong, but overconfident for their abilities. But so the minor trio are going to get this final note. Hibiki comes up with a brilliant plan to get all of Kanon Town to help them protect Fari. So she gets on a megaphone and she tells everyone that they're shooting a movie. They have to protect Fari from the monsters. And we get every cameo, as you alluded to earlier in the episode, Kat. We get Juan and Reika, I think is her name.
We don't just get Juan. Hibiki does the whistle.
Hibiki does the Epona whistle. Yeah, absolutely. We get Oji-sama and his 4 boys. We get... What?
Do you want to think about the way you phrased that?
Oh, did I imply that Oji is a single parent of 4? He has 4 quadruplets?
Yep.
Yeah. And we...
quintuplets that he's tutoring.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Absolutely. Anyway, we also get, hang on, we get Hibiki's dad, but who's the, we get Soda dressed up as Sunman, I think is his name, or whatever.
He's so into it, and he drags Akko into it too, and is making her pose with him.
He's not making her pose, she's she's posing with him,
really?
Of her own free will, absolutely.
You went back and watched it for the screenshots. I thought he had hold of her arm and was jerking her around, because she makes a face the whole time, like she's
embarrassed, but This is, like you alluded to, a great episode. I will say that at the end of the episode, Noise gets the note anyways because he's a very fast bird and they were more paying attention to the minor trio. So it looks like episode 42 is just going to be the world ending, Armageddon.
Who's going to sing their song?
Well, that's a good point. And that's been your succinct summary! Now, you brought up a question that wasn't really related to a succinct summary. It was perhaps something we could discuss while we were discussing the episode. What do you think is going to happen in the next episode, now that they have all of the notes of the Song of Sorrow?
Well, I think they're going to have to decide who's going to sing the Melody of Sorrow.
It's absolutely true.
Maybe Falsetto has secretly harbored a desire to sing it this whole time, and that was like what was keeping him secretly evil and taking the rest of the team's abuse.
I would love for Falsetto to be confidently wrong. I would love for Falsetto to be like, I've been training for this, don't worry, check this out. And then he struts up to the stand, the music stand, and he opens his mouth and he sings the first note, and then he gets like blasted or electrified by that same like mysterious power we saw in the movie when you sang the wrong note and it kind of zapped you or whatever.
Okay, could do. Alternatively, he opens his mouth to sing the first note and Otokichi just pulls out a gun and just, busts a cap.
Absolutely. As he opens his mouth, Soda perfectly times a frog toss. That's where you take a frog and you just chuck it, and it lands in Falsetto's mouth, and then he has a frog in his throat, and that's why he can't finish the song.
Like Tom Holland.
Yes. And then baritone and bass drum, whichever. I'm not doing it on purpose. I forget how to pronounce it every time. But anyways, and then those two go up, and they open their mouth, and then Ellen transforms back into a cat, and then they lash on to their tongue, so the cat's got their tongue, so they can't perform either.
This whole season has been a setup to the pun.
That is how they defeat the music-themed bad guy.
Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic. I felt bad for Akko when she discovered that Pii-chan was evil.
Yes.
Because you could tell, like, she was like, no, this bird I've known for 5 minutes is my friend, but my grandpa says, and my grandpa's pretty smart.
You were right. Last episode, you were saying that they felt like they kind of like psychically inserted Pii-chan as if Pii-chan's been around forever. If Pii-chan was a somewhat infrequent character, kind of like how Soda's not in every episode, but when he shows up, he has consistent characterization. If Akko had met the bird much earlier in the season, and there was a bigger mystery about who Noise-sama was, and then there was a moment of, did this bird betray me, or do I believe my grandpa? I don't know, man. I think that would have been much, much better. Also, in both episode 40 against Pii-chan and in episode 41 against the minor trio, the town, well, Hibiki and her dad use the fact that the people of the minor land don't like beautiful music to their advantage. Hibiki plays on the piano that Otokichi has been constructing, the grand piano, and Hibiki's dad, he has a name, conducts a symphony, and it disturbs the minor trio and Pii-chan. It kind of paralyzes them. They're like, the music is so beautiful.
And as established before, we're not really music people, so Joel calling it a grand piano was a mistake. We know that it is a organ.
I don't know that. You can't prove what I do or do not know.
The fact
I do. There's so many good little moments in this episode. There's a dramatic, what do you call it? Like a samurai showdown where they both kind of like cross paths, and then the back of the screen goes white, and then it reveals who actually got cut. And Hibiki's like super excited because she got Fari, but then it turns out that Bass Drum put a fake Fari in the air, and that's what she caught, so he actually tricked her. It was so good.
It was really good. And it was comedic while also having some dramatic tension, which is a line that PreCure doesn't always straddle super well, but when it does it well, it's amazing.
Yeah, we love to see it. The other thing is bass drum. I'm trying. Okay. If it's a fish, it's bass. So he's bass drum. I'm just going to remember that he's a big old frog baseball boy. But anyways, he decides to do the fastball special with baritone, which for those who don't know, I believe originated in X-Men. It's when Colossus or other strong characters throw Wolverine like a baseball. So Bass Drum picks up this tall, skinny elf dude and just chucks him like a missile.
Like a javelin.
He just slams into a pole, and he slides to the ground at the end of the scene as Akko and Soda are running away. Bass Drum's like, I gotta chase him, and you see Baritone in the background with like this evil aura being like, Bass Drum!
He's gonna get his by the end of this season.
I hope so. He's become the new butt monkey. At one point, it was falsetto, and they turned that on its head, and now they're setting it up with baritone.
Yep.
Could you imagine if he betrays falsetto for the possibility of wearing mascara again? Like, if I secretly help you, if I turn double agent, will you turn me back into a human so I can be beautiful again?
Now, I don't mean to swear on your Christian podcast, but that would be some hot bitch shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like extremely petty, but that's what hot girls do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would also qualify as boss bitch, just absolutely. Jinx.
To be clear, hot girl shit is gender neutral.
Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely.
I was at a meeting for work today, and it was with the police, so there's this huge hulking dude in his bulletproof vest with his gun, and he's got a hot pink drink from Starbucks. And I was like, hell yeah, man, that drink looks amazing. You do you.
Yeah, chase your bliss, absolutely.
And there was no embarrassment at all. Like, I love the times that we live in. Sometimes.
Absolutely. Sometimes the times we live in are good, but sometimes the times we live in are absolute hell on earth. Anyways.
Back to the Magical Girl show, the one distraction from...
Okay, so in the episode where they realize Pii-chan is evil, Pii-chan eventually is like flying into the air, and the girls are going to chase after Pii-chan, and I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to cook Pii-chan or put him in a cage or... just beat him with sticks. But at that exact moment, the minor trio come crashing in through the ceiling. And as we mentioned before, due to their new transformation, Falsetto has longer hair and is otherwise basically unchanged. Although I did notice he now has like weird cat nails in one of the screenshots that I took. But anyways, baritone is now super tall and super skinny, but bass drum has always been kind of a round guy, but now he's even more bulky. And so when he tries to crash through the window, he gets stuck. And it was so unexpected, because it was this dramatic moment. Oh god, Pii-chan has betrayed us, and Akko is sad, and the melody of sorrow is this close to being complete, and falsetto is about to attack us, and then this frog dude just gets stuck, and his legs are just kicking in the ceiling, and I just love it so much.
It is fantastic. I love this villain trio. We're going to have to do a retrospective on Sweet when we finish it, because I'd really like to talk through like script doctoring and what we would change or what we liked. But this is pretty high up on my list of seasons, like easily up there with Fresh and Princess and Heartcatch. And do I just like all of them?
You like all of them except for potentially Futari Wa, Max Heart, and Healin' Good. That's my stance, basically.
Yeah, Witchy was down there too. It was better than Futari Wa, but it wasn't my favorite. The villains were so dumb. Anyway.
Let's save that for an episode where we officially rank all of the PreCure seasons, or the ones that we've seen so far.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I love is that Kanade, she can't, like, listen, I'm going to use a euphemism, but even the euphemism sounds wrong, but it's true. She can't keep it in her pants. Twice in episode 41, she's just losing her mind cheering for Oji-sama, and the other girls, even Ellen, who once previously had a crush on Oji, is just like, girl, you got to calm down. You have got to spritz yourself with some water or something.
Please put away your disaster buy on main vibes and focus on the task at hand.
Also unrelated, but when all the different background characters have shown up and they're each in their own way kind of fighting bass drum and baritone, you have Soda, who dresses up as Sunman. You have Reka. Is it Seika or Reka? Anyways, she puts them in like a weird cake prison because she's the bake club person, and one hits bass drum with a soccer ball, which proves that his weakness is soccer balls. This is the second time he's been taken out with soccer balls. But what Oji-sama and his princes, his lords or whatever, what they do is they just tie them up with ropes. So I think that Oji has some practice with tying people up with ropes. I don't know why he would have that skill.
Maybe he volunteered on a ranch and he's lassoed some horses.
Maybe he works
is a yeehaw.
Maybe on the weekend he goes sailing and his not work is to A, tie it up to the dock properly, and B, for the riggings for the sails. What?
I'm being disgusting. I'm sorry.
Were you speaking English, or did you just slip into tongues for a second there? What is this?
I channeled the spirit of Tumblr and fanfic authors. That's all.
A dangerous combination.
It's not something you want to explore further, but particularly not on this podcast.
Right. One last scene that I really liked from episode 41. The thing that gives Hibiki the inspiration to tell everyone that they're shooting a movie is that they're walking past the movie theater and there are some posters hanging up. And one of them is definitely a Kamen Rider, and I really appreciate that.
Nice. I just want to shout out, earlier when we were doing the discussion question, we briefly mentioned having a database of powers. And this is not really how build works, I don't believe, but in Kamen Rider build, his thing is he takes two things and then combines them into his power and his suit for the episode. So one, I think, was like Race Car Wolf.
Okay.
So Build is just a season that I'm interested in watching, that's all.
Excellent. Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I think you would like it if you like the idea of like using different powers in new ways.
Absolutely. The one thing I will say is with going back to like mixing and matching powers, and I think I mentioned this before with one of the seasons of Power Rangers, not Sentai, Power Rangers when I was a kid, they had so many different powers that it eventually became hard to figure out. Like, I think part of the fun in watching a show like this is sometimes being able to predict which power they're going to use. And so if we did design a Mega Man style series, I wouldn't want them to have 40 powers where each episode was a different power. I'd want the chance to see them use one from a previous episode, but in a new way. I think Ben 10 was a pretty good balance of that, because 10's not too big of a number, but it's a variety for sure.
Ben 10, I think, was the ideal version of that. Also, do the theme song.
He started with an alien that came through the portal, and that's
You're the worst person I know.
I don't remember these things. I was a Ben 10 fan. Why? Why are you so mean to me?
No, I'm
Pete's
sorry.
gonna replace me next episode,
sorry,
and you're gonna have to deal with his advertisements. It's just constant.
Listen, I thought you were doing it on purpose is the thing, because I sing that theme song all the time. It's iconic. I didn't even watch Ben 10. I just loved the theme song. So
Okay.
I would sit there and listen to it anytime it was on before I switched to a different channel.
No lie, and this has nothing to do with PreCure. The reason I started watching Futurama is not because it was funny, not because it made adult jokes that my parents wouldn't let me listen to or something. It was because I liked the theme song so much. So like I would literally, like, I think there was something on right before it that I liked to watch. And then when it ended, I would let the theme song play, and then they'd make some joke that made me be like, all right, I'll continue watching this. But like literally that was the first thing of Futurama that drew me in. Not the wacky humor, it was just that.
You know what's really funny?
What's that?
That's true of One Piece, too. You watched One Piece because of the 4Kids rap.
Yo, Gaio!
Dreamin'. Let's talk about PreCure.
Nicely done. Sweet, sweet sound bites. We're gonna eat them up. We have a sample platter of thoughts. That one welder guy, James from the Discord, mostly commented on Delicious Party this week. And you alluded to this earlier, but he said Mother Flipper Narcistoru built a dragon radar, which is excellent. I hope that collecting recipes in a short amount of time actually creates negative energy that was supposed to be dissipated, because finding the recipes was going to be hard. And then each of the recipes will take on a new form, and one of them, because it has an emotional tie to Yui, will be the evil one that's the least evil, that helps Yui fight the other 6.
What I'm
but then
hearing
she
is
gets
now it's-
absorbed by the Omega recipe, and Yui and Gentle have to do the fusion dance in order to defeat it.
You're speaking in tongues now.
That was the plot of Dragon Ball GT, by the way.
Yeah, I assumed. I actually thought that it was the plot of the Boo saga, because I thought I remembered the fusion being part of that. But it's not a Dragon Ball Z podcast.
Well,
Tell me later.
Hang on. So in the Boo saga, you were introduced to 2 types of fusion: the Portara earrings and the fusion dance. The fusion dance was used for Goten and Trunks to become Gotenks, and the Portara was used on Goku and Vegeta to become Vegito. Goku and Vegeta did not canonically do the fusion dance until GT, when they had to put aside their differences and become Gogeta.
And Gogeta's better. Go, Vegeta.
Go. But then when GT was written out of continuity, when they made Super, they just did that scene again in the Broly movie, where they have to put aside their differences and fuse together using the fusion dance, which has the added benefit of making Vegito, or Gogeta, canon.
Right, the better of the two. I
better
still
of the
don't know
two.
why he's better, other than his name sounding better.
Wait, what do you mean better of the two? I don't know, I like him.
You liked him better.
Yeah, he's got a cool design, man.
Oh, I thought their designs were the same.
No.
Oh, I've never seen Vegito, because I've only seen what you've shown me.
Listen, Vegito rhymes with Cheetos, and while Cheetos are a tasty snack, you can't live on Cheetos alone.
And also,
But
you can't steal
Gogeta
them.
kind of sounds like goat and cheetah. So not only is he the best, but he's fast.
It also sounds like fajita, and you could live on fajitas alone.
Fajitas are great.
Meat, vegetables, carb.
Stop, you're making my mouth water on this Delicious Party podcast.
Let's go get fajitas tomorrow.
Other thoughts from that one Wilder guy? Smooth transition back onto the rails that is the main focus of this episode.
Who likes Mexican food? James, that one welder guy.
He noticed that Yui's dad and Takemi's dad are on a fishing trip that lasts for years together. Let me just say, when I see a female character, an older character, obviously, I'm appreciative. But male characters, even if I know they're supposed to look attractive, for the most part, I'm just kind of like, that's a character. But with Yui and Takemi's dad, I could definitely be like, yeah, they're cute. And I understand the BL vibes that James was getting from these two, and it was great. Also, shout out to Takami's dad for just blatantly saying, you've liked Yui all this time in front of both Takami and Yui. That's a dad move right there. Takami freaks out because which boy at that age doesn't freak out when their parents, out their crush to their crush? And Yui just has no idea what this is. She's like, if it's not a food metaphor, I don't get it.
Her head is so empty. It's like she doesn't hear the words that people are saying.
And then we also have Takami's mom worked fast to bag her future husband in the flashback.
Well, she had to before he went off on a quote-unquote fishing trip.
I don't think he was on a fishing trip. I think he was on a mission from the CooKingdom. What if he's the CooKingdom's assassin? Maybe that's his goal, so he works in the shadows. That's why he's in the dark cloak, yes! He's like the CIA the Special Forces operative.
Sure would have been cool of him to show up and deal with Amane before now.
That would have.
Instead of waiting for the PreCure to manage it.
I do find it interesting that he was like, hey, my son has the power to use the Linkle Stone or the Delicious Stone or whatever it's called. I'm just gonna give it to him. No training, no when the time's right, you'll know. Just a sort of hold on to this. Be careful, but not too careful. Which, Takami, again, is just kind of I must never use this power. No, there are monsters attacking the city. Yeah. Use this power.
Spider-Man heard, with great power comes great responsibility. And he finished the sentence. It was great responsibility to do something when people are in danger.
Yeah.
Takami heard, with great power comes great responsibility. And his end of the sentence was great responsibility to put it away and not use it. Not use it at all. Don't touch it. Don't think about it.
I will say, too, that at the end of the episode, it shows the Delicious Stone in case it wasn't obvious that he was the one who saved Yui in a moment of desperation. But it zooms in, and in his closet is the Delicious Stone on the hat that we have seen on the tuxedo mask type character that we see in the opening. I kind of wasn't expecting him to already have the costume. I kind of thought that he would be able to use really basic energy blast attacks or something at first, and he would be reluctant to embrace the power, and only once he fully accepted the power and decided I will take the risk of using this power even if it might accidentally hurt someone, I'd rather do the right thing, and that's when he would get his transformation.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to get an actual henshin, not just be a dude dressing up.
Well,
at the same time, maybe those are his fancy lad clothes that Mom makes him wear for picture day.
Oh my God. I love that so much.
Mother, I have been such a good fancy lad. May I please have a sweetie from the corner store?
Yes, here is a hay penny that you can use to buy as many gumballs as a hay penny can buy. Don't forget to buy the stocks and lock the horses in the stables before you come back. Toodaloo!
I will give you a smooch if you can tell me what a hay penny is.
Isn't it half a penny?
It is, yeah. You earned your smooches.
Excellent.
Congrats, man.
Now we shall loudly make out into the mic. That's great audio for everyone.
Science fell in love, so they tried to kiss off mic.
We are getting loopy. Last thought from James. Narcistoru's power is scary to make people forget food memories. I am hoping that can be used for dramatic effect. And obviously you save the most dramatic for when they're about to defeat Narcistoru, which won't be next episode. But in 5 episodes, I'm looking forward to a really dramatic, he makes the entire world forget about all foods or something.
I think Narcistoru might have actually used his power on me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I seem to forget how sick I get after eating Taco Bell every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's more like a self-imposed limitation, It's like the memory you lock away, in Legion or something.
Man, I get the feeling that it's an outside influence and I can't do anything.
You can't do anything about it. You're powerless.
I just have to keep eating Taco Bell.
Looking ahead, episode 14 of Delicious Party is going to be called First Love's Taste, Affections, and Takami's Answer.
Takami's answer to me implies that somebody confessed to him.
Yeah, Yui's going to confess to him or something.
I don't think it's going to be Yui. I think it's going to be some other random girl at the school, and he's going to have to weigh his affection for Yui and whatever weird shit she's got going on with Mari with this safe, normal, boring girl, and like, how do I tell her no nicely? Because Yui's it. I've liked Yui the longest time.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a picture of baby Yui, by the way, in this episode, and I think in the very first episode, we saw her crying and her grandma give her an onigiri to be like, hey, cheer up, food brings smiles. But we didn't actually know why she was crying. And we don't get clarification on exactly why, but we do get the idea that Takemi somehow, like, caused it. So that's kind of nice. They've known each other for a long time. Here's what I'm thinking. I don't think that someone will confess to him, but I do think that he's going to grapple with, do I use this power that might hurt someone? And also, I kind of have to wear this, like, this dress looking, or like, you know, fancy lad clothes. Maybe he's not really accustomed to that and he doesn't like how he looks in them. But his answer is, no, I care for her enough that that's more important. My answer is I will embrace this identity even if for some reason I don't like it or that sort of thing.
I like that. I think that's very wholesome. I hope he gets a chance to have a man-to-man talk with his dad, like just the two of them, because it really seemed like he wanted his dad's guidance.
Yeah, that's really tough. There have been studies about the effectiveness of having good role models in your life, and Takemi's parents both love him, obviously, but, you know, he's at that age when it would be tough not being able to just talk to your dad about that kind of thing. So, yeah, maybe he will surprisingly come back, or maybe he won't, because a lot of PreCure seasons, they just have one parent just be gone for the entire season. They're not dead, this isn't Disney, but they're just not present.
They're just not there, and nobody really says anything. Maybe there's a brief emotional moment that they get over,
pretty quickly or whatever.
Joel, can I send us out on a...
rocket ship?
No. Can I just send us out on something not really PreCure related and slightly more serious?
As you wish, my queen.
Your producer. Yeah, so I think we might have mentioned this last week, but if we didn't, it's Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. Happy
Pride Month, everyone, and whether you are comfortable being out to people in the world or not, whether you think that the some members of the community might not look positively upon it, you are valid, and we love you. We're proud of you.
Absolutely. Joel is using a slightly goofy voice because he feels embarrassed to be talking about something so serious, but I know it's still hard out there for a lot of people. You know, we've made great strides over the last several decades, but we've still got a ways to go. And so I am hopeful that as we continue to move forward, people can be who they are without fear of persecution.
I personally believe, in the grand scheme of things, that the goodness of people will ultimately cause progress to happen. We might have some stumbling moments, but I think that the future is looking fairly bright, and I think that so long as we continue to work towards that, it'll be a very happy future.
Absolutely, and that's been your
final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget to just keep shoving Taco Bell in your mouth. Nom 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 nom.
Why is this a bad idea? I can't remember. Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at PirateGhostHost. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter at Kotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the PreCure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full.